Hi. So I wanted to share this. I'm listening to Dr. Gabor Mate's trauma course, and he just went over an example of a woman feeling unloved and angry that her mother chose alcohol over her. That was the dialogue. And what Dr. Gabor Mate did was say, wait a minute, the idea behind addiction, it's so painful in somebody's life. That's why they're choosing the addiction. If it wasn't so uncomfortable, painful, or unpleasant, there would be no cravings for alcohol, other substances. It wouldn't be as impactful as it is. And so the girl thought that her mother was not choosing her, because this girl used to be an addict and was like, well, I need to choose myself. With that same idea, he said, well, how is it that your mother, how do you feel knowing that your mother chooses alcohol over even herself? She was like, okay, that feels bad. And it's like, yeah. And growing up with that, we get, let's say you're a child of it, we get the idea that we are unworthy and unlovable because somebody else chose alcohol, what we think is over us, or chose abuse over loving us, or whatever it was, over loving and caring for us in the ways that we probably needed. Now, the majority of things with abuse and alcohol is that people probably have no other outlet, no other way. That's how they cope. That's all they know. They are trying their best with what they have. And some things they don't want to see. It's an interesting thing to start to give the abusers or the person who's addicted more compassion. But that is the release, because this girl does not want to feel so impacted by her mother's alcoholism, which is hard to do because it's your mother, you know? So it was really fascinating. It's been so her mother did not choose herself. And so that girl, he's like, if you are relying on your mother to choose you, which in sense gives you a sense of worthiness, because that lesson that she got as a child was that she is unworthy of love. Mother is choosing alcohol over her. She must be unworthy of love. Because we're all children. We're all fucking narcissists. It's all about us. We take things so personally. So in that sense, if her mother died, game over. Her worthiness would never be out there. And that's why she's holding on to the resentment and anger, which really comes back to myself. Why do I still hold on to the resentment to my parents? There's still this anger of why the fuck did you have me? The fuck's your problem? You're so fucked up yourself. How dare you have a child? There's a lot of anger and a lot of hate towards that. And I think that resonated with me, where it's I have a really hard time with self-worth. I'm building it up. It's better than it was in the past. And it's still really hard to feel like I am deserving of relaxation, ease, safety, any of that stuff. I'm deserving of love. It feels like I'm kind of always on guard. And this anger towards my parents, fuck you for making this way. And I'm kind of wanting them to make a different choice. I'm wanting my dad to research what borderline is. I'm wanting my mom to go ahead and communicate more with me. I'm wanting these very particular and specific things, and I am asking for them. But if I hold on to my mother or my father having to do these particular actions, then I will gain my self-worth. I'm never going to get there. I'm going to constantly be disappointed. What a miserable state to be in. It is. It's fucking miserable. It sucks. It sucks to be in my head sometimes. So, yeah. I just thought that was powerful, because when this girl recognized, she's like, all right, just like her mother is choosing alcohol over herself, this girl unconsciously was choosing resentment over self-love. Instead of shifting from, I have this control. For me, I have the power to give myself the love that I need, to tell myself I am worthy of love, of outside love, of intimacy, of connection, of respect, of actually getting what I want, no matter how big the dream is. There's no prerequisite for it. I don't need to prove my value or worthiness. I am already valuable as is. And that's a fucking big ass shift, but to recognize that I have that power. It's not my mom. It's not my dad. Even though it's still very difficult to grasp the concept, there's a part of me that feels like it's like, no, you just want to be angry at them. Fuck them. You want to be angry at somebody. You blame somebody else for how you feel. Yes, what they did was not fair. And there's a reason. There's a reason they acted the way that they did. There's a reason for it all. Or there's an explanation. Maybe not so much a reason, but an explanation for why we are the way that we are. So that was really profound and beautiful. And it's hitting me, and it feels like a slow digestive thing of just like, to look at my mom as somebody who can't help it. To look at my mom as not the person who defines my worthiness. To look at my childhood as not what defines my ability to be loved. To recognize that those beliefs within me, the more that I continue to feed them or feel out of control with them. Like, there are tips and tricks to actually look at a belief and be like, hey, I don't want to feed you anymore. I don't want to feed you like non-deserving, unworthy. Look, you fucked up again, you dumbass. Like that kind of stuff. No. The gremlins, these little gremlins in our head. What is it trying to do? What are these negative thoughts and words trying to do? They are trying to protect us. And it's fucked up. It's like shitty programming, all right? Like, our cognition, our cognitive brain is not that fucking developed, okay? Compared to the rest of our evolution. The frontal lobe is brand fucking new. So it definitely crosses wires with our primal side of our brain, the rear part of our brain, our body. That's why we get confused. We're also in a society that says, like, it's somebody else's fault. Or we are responsible for everybody. Or we are unworthy without having a skill set, or we are undeserving of love without having to prove it first. That's shitty. And it takes a lot to break that mold. It takes a lot to go ahead and change that trajectory, to change that inner dialogue. It's definitely not easy. It's an uphill battle. Maybe for some people it is, but for myself, it's been a challenge. But I like looking at things as, hey, challenges make me stronger. Whether I succeed or fail at them, the more that I work through challenges, the more practice I get, the more I'm able to feel difficult emotions and not feel like they overtake me. And it's okay if they do. It's all practice. And that's a big one, of telling myself I am worthy of love, simply as I am. I am deserving of love. I am beautiful. Like, I feel tears welling up behind my head and my eyes because it's hard to believe that. But I want that to be my fucking dialogue. And recognizing, hey, it makes sense why I don't believe that. The shit that I grew up with, shit that my mom grew up with, my dad grew up with. To understand their stories. I'm lucky where my mom is sharing her story with me. That is huge. Not a lot of people get that. And that's hard, to actually put boundaries up and step away. It doesn't mean it's not painful. It doesn't mean it's not insanely difficult. It doesn't mean you may like go back to your parents and still relive trauma or get the same outcome thinking something else might be different. We just want love. We want connection. That's one of the hardest things with parents. And if they're toxic, it's incredibly hard to go ahead and put up boundaries. But it's important that we put ourselves first, our health first. To not deplete ourselves to please somebody else. And if we grew up doing that, yeah, it's fucking hard to go ahead and change that, but it's doable. It's worth the effort. Even if you just get 1% better, that alleviates 1% of the pain. That's still 1% less painful. That's pretty good. Nothing's perfect. Except you and I. All of us. Our imperfection is what makes us perfect. We are adaptable creatures. We are incredible. As much as we can self-loathe and destroy, we are just as fucking capable of building and growing and supporting and loving. And it takes a lot of courage to go ahead and share what's inside of us, what we're fearful of. The fear of what other people may think or other people's judgment and not wanting to feel judged or embarrassed or shameful. And their feelings that don't last forever. And it's worth the joy on the other side of feeling that insane amount of pain. It's worth the acceptance, intimacy, and love for somebody to open their arms to you exactly as you are. I don't know. I just felt that rolling off the tongue. I really wanted to share with you. Maybe this can go online. I'll watch your videos in a bit. I fucking love you.